So capitalism has these built-in quirks that make it kind of destructive to the environment. Of course, we haven't even talked about the environmental effects of capitalism. We all know that the earth is way too polluted, that we may have gone way past the stage where we can even stop production and have the world recover from global warming or climate change. We don't know whether we're really able to change that. We know that the world will adjust itself if we were to stop polluting suddenly, but we don't know where it is on the scale of things that the world cannot recover, and I think we're about to find out. So I think it's really important to look at the very radical center of capitalism, how it ticks and how it works in relationship especially to democracy, which is people in general, to see how we can stop this cycle of destruction before the world collapses, before we have bloody revolution, people in the streets, civil unrest, because that's what's coming down the line if we do nothing. So I have this invention called revolutionary capitalism, and it's very simple to understand if you think of a balance, like over here is democracy, that is the people, the 99%, including the 1%, because they also vote. So it's 100% of the people is behind the government, even though currently the government is a wholly owned subsidiary of the capitalist class over here, the 1%. It still has the power to limit capitalism in many useful ways. So, but right now we have capitalism on top of democracy, holding it down. You know from the recent elections and that the people in power, the capitalist class, if you like, will do anything to stop, to get an election happening that benefits them in some way. They will just write people off of the voting rolls, they'll play dirty tricks on each other. They don't really care about democracy and the 99%, they're just protecting their 1% position. So we have capitalism holding down democracy, and what I propose to do in revolutionary capitalism is to flip that over so that democracy has more power than capitalism does. It's a very simple concept, and I think there's a way to do it. The way to do it has been given to us by, I think he's an assemblyman in the state legislature called Huffman. He represents an area of Sonoma County down near Petaluma. I'm not even sure that he knows what he's done, but what he did is he put a bill through the California legislature to create a new type of corporation called a B or benefit corporation. This corporation, instead of being mandated to have a tunnel vision and only focus on profit, is mandated to do something else, to consider the effect of its operations on its workers and on the community at large, and certainly the local community in which it lives and works. This is a revolutionary thing. This is revolutionary capitalism, because now the CEO can tell the 1% who have the stock ownership that their interest is, their dividends are a little smaller than the next corporation over, because they're putting a lot of effort into making sure that the workers are happy, that they are in a good environment, in a healthy environment, providing perhaps health benefits and so on, and that they actually serve a productive purpose in the world at large, and they serve their communities in a very specific local way. And B corporations are tested on this once a year. There's an outside NGO called B Corp that will go over the books of the benefit corporation and make sure that they're actually performing those functions, not just going for capital accumulation, but going for a better lifestyle, a healthier lifestyle, protecting the environment, all the kinds of values that young people know are really important today. I say young people because us older folks tend to get a little stilted and forget that there's some things to fight for still. And we always know, I talk to older folks about this and they say, oh, that'll never happen. And that attitude is very prevalent when you get above 30 years old. But while you're young and enthusiastic and optimistic that good things could happen in the world, that's when things could change. And so I urge you, if you're so motivated, to consider changing your attitude if you think this can't be done. It can be done, and it can only be done when people change their attitudes about what they want in life. Either we're out there for money only, or we're talking about serving each other and making each other happy in one way or another, which I think is the true value. You know, in America, we seem to be compulsively working. I talk to people who have immigrated from Russia and Europe and Eastern Europe and other places. They have a different value system. I lived in Spain once, for example, and they're not so enthusiastic about work. You know, they'd rather spend their time having parties and eating good food and playing with their friends and playing music and enjoying life. Whereas we seem to have that, I don't know what that ethic is of, we gotta work, because we gotta make those bills. And of course, that's why we have so many heart attacks and sick people and so stressed out people and depression and all the rest of those symptoms that other places haven't learned to get used to like we have. So let's get to the core of it. If we have a corporation available to us that now is more concerned with people than profit, we have a beginning of a major revolution in the world of capitalism. And this, I think, is the key to changing the world. You know, I'm more of a psychologist than anything else, and I always thought that if people could just wake up and learn the facts, and that they could change the world. I also tried politics. You know, I protested against the Diablo Canyon nuclear plant with other people in the Abalone Alliance, and I thought, you know, activism would just show up on the streets and that'll change the world. Well, neither one of those two approaches works by themselves. And here's a new approach. I never thought of it before until I read about the B Corporation. I happen to be an entrepreneur now, and I'm taking a class from the Small Business Development Center called Next Level. And it's about putting together a business plan and creating a new corporation. And one of the things you have to decide is what form will this corporation take? Are we going to be an LLC, S corporation, a C corporation, sole proprietorship, general partnership, whatever. I couldn't figure out what the heck was the right way to go. And then the teacher happened to mention this B corporation, and so I hadn't heard of it, so I looked it up, and it turns out that Mr. Huffington that I mentioned earlier, who is in the legislature of the state of California, put through a bill to let California create B corporations like 7 or 8 other states in the union are already doing. I believe it originated in Vermont. Those are the pure Yankee Democrats who get there. Far progressive thinking people in terms of business. And this is a progressive thing. Now, why do I think that is so important in the scheme of things? Well, when I went on the internet, I saw this wonderful picture of Huffman standing on a podium with the governor, and next to him was another man who happened to own a little company called Patagonia. It's not really a little company, it's quite large, and it makes really high quality sportswear. And they're very conscious about how they do that. When they buy stuff from overseas, they make sure that the people that are making that fabric that they're going to use in their product are not slave labor. They're careful about the environment. They're doing all the things that a B corporation is mandated to do, but they're doing it because of the CEO who founded the company has got that kind of advanced progressive consciousness, and for no other reason. He is in fact breaking the law if he were doing all that with a regular corporation, because he's not just focusing on the profit. And so Patagonia is the first B corporation or benefit corporation in California. I think their example will lead others to join. And of course, you don't have to be a new corporation. Patagonia has been around for years. and it's very good at making profit. But so it can convert quite easily to a B corporation and then have it conform to what it's already doing. And if other corporations see this as a good example, a humanitarian example, a democratic example, they might follow suit. I hope so. So I think there's a kind of a revolution going on there in terms of mutating corporate people from the profit motive to the people motive. Because after all, I mean, you can have all the wealth in the world if you don't have people around you that you love, that you trust, and people who admire you as a human being. The money doesn't seem to make you happy.